If you don't partner, then a lot of companies are actually getting bought up and absorbed by other larger MSPs. So partnerships are a way to grow your size without doing a massive merger or taking private equity money and things like that. So it's a way to extend your abilities.
Hey, Channel Insiders. Welcome back to Channel Insider Partner POV. I'm your host, Katie Bavoso, and today I'm speaking with Travis Woods, CEO of FortPoint IT and Vice President of Information Technology at DVBE Technology Colombia. In this interview, Travis explains how partnering with other solution providers helps him to compete with large private equity-backed MSPs. We also dig into the rise of Max solutions and services within the IT channel, as well as the speed of digital transformation in Colombia. Welcome, Travis. It's so great to see you.
Hey, Katie. Thanks so much for having me. It's been a while, and so to be able to do this with you is an absolute pleasure. It feels like catching up with an old friend. So
it really is. We've been on for like 20 minutes now, not recording and just catching up. So that's my favorite part when we get to do these interviews. But you have been busy, my friend.
I don't even know which business card to hand out sometimes. I'm like, is it this one? Is it that one? So, but whatever we do, it's I think folks probably know at this point, I'm CEO of FortPoint IT, which is a managed services provider. We've been around for about 15, 16 years now in the San Francisco Bay Area. And that was really where I got my start in managed services and my experience here in the channel.
You're a PC and Mac service provider. So why don't you tell me a little bit about what FortPoint is, where you saw the need, and just a bit more about the kinds of customers and verticals you serve?
So when we started back in 2009, it was a time when the world was changing. Obviously, there was the economic downturn. A lot of folks had left corporate America. So out here in the West Coast, I'm just north of San Francisco in Marin County. And out here, a lot of those folks that left corporate America had a drive to create their own new business. So we started out supporting startups. And among those startups, a lot of them had just grabbed Macs because they were easy to use. They were used to being issued to folks in the C-suite. So these folks were used to having Macs. And there were not a lot of folks in the market that specialized or could manage Macs on a grand scale. So that was really the genesis of FortPoint. And that was how we started managing Macs for startups.
What's the biggest difference between serving the Macs and serving the PCs?
From the get-go, we always had our own separate tools. So everyone else was like, oh, well, we have, Manage, or we have these tools. And in the early days, there were not a lot of Mac analogies for those tools. So we had to figure stuff out on our own, kind of come up with our own processes. Very early on, we found a product called Adigi, which was great for managing Macs, and it really helped us to get our arms around things and to keep things updated and help our customers. But that was a big struggle. I remember doing a number of demos, and almost the second, third question after how many users, which the PSA you're using, the question would come up. I'm like, well, I have about 90%, 80% Macs. And they're like, oh, okay, click. Like, thanks. Yeah, we don't have a solution for you yet. So, and that was how a lot of my demos went early on for software that would have helped. It would have been helpful. But now I'm seeing that most platforms have taken into account the Mac environment. And it's really a natural part of business these days. I think it's still issued to folks in the C-suite, but one place we're seeing a lot of Macs is also in security companies. There is the inherent security that comes with the Mac OS and the way it's designed that's a little different from Windows. So we do see it as a higher level of baseline security. It doesn't mean that you can just forego any other tools, but it does mean that you're starting at a higher level, which is nice.
That's interesting that you talked about some of those platforms that have now gotten on board with serving both operating systems. And I think about going to a lot of these channel-specific events with vendors, and you're seeing a lot more of them cater to the Mac space. Going to, for example, PAX 8 Beyond over the summer, I saw a lot of Google Shop and Mac shops there because those were the kind of services that they provided, and they felt very seen by that particular marketplace. For you, I mean, are you seeing most vendors be able to serve both platforms now? And do you feel seen and catered to by the majority of vendors?
Honestly, because so much of the software and so much of the tools that we use are SaaS-based tools, that the platform-specific functions and features are almost irrelevant. Folks are developing, we're running applications in the cloud and not on our machines anymore. So, the fact that you can connect a Windows machine or an Apple device to a Windows virtual desktop and run, whatever, it matters very little these days. And so I think that's also probably why we're seeing the Chromebooks that are all web-based there. So it's not that big of a deal any longer.
And kind of like moving on from the space of Fort Point now, I'd love to talk to you about DVBE Technology Colombia. First of all, Travis, I have to point out, because anybody listening that's like, where does he go? Who does he belong to? What team is he on? You're a partnership machine. I've noticed that you do this very often in the time that I've known you. You partner with not only vendors, but you also partner with other partners, other solution providers within the channel. First of all, how does this work for you? Why do you do this and then not, go to bed at 3 a.m. every day? Unless you do.
Well, there are those days. But I mean, personally, I've always found that I'm obviously not the smartest guy in the room. But I'm going to find someone who can complement what I do know and what I am confident in so that we can do something different. And that's always been my MO. I've had the pleasure of having a really diverse IT background, from administrating in a school district, running an MSP. I've been able to do and see a lot of different things. And that broad experience has really help me to see places where I can help out and things that, like, experiences that I can lend to a direction someone else is going in. And so together, I feel we are stronger. I've had the pleasure of working with some amazing partners who are now friends, some of my best friends in the channel. And I'll go to some of these events and my wife's like, why, you're so excited to go to this work event. I'm like, no, you don't understand. Like, I get to see my friends who I also get to work with. So this is a win-win for me. But again, my MO is really to find people that are doing just really cool things. And I want to contribute what I know. I want to contribute my vast experiences to help make something for them or help to deliver something that's amazing. And at the end of the day, it's a business too. So the fact that we get paid for it is icing on the cake.
Yes, I would say so for sure. Is there a word for that? Maybe I'm not thinking of the partner to partner partnership. Oh my God, a PPP? The P2PP. Yeah, that's a new one in the industry. I think we better stamp a trademark on that. TM.
Let's face it, in the MSP space, it is really hard to go it alone. And I think a testament to that is that because we can't do everything for our clients and their needs are becoming greater with compliance, cybersecurity, and even just management, being able to partner with other people and find the right partners is important to survival for an organization. We're already seeing that if you don't partner, then a lot of companies are actually getting bought up and absorbed by other larger MSPs. So partnerships are a way to grow your size without doing a massive merger or taking private equity money and things like that. So it's a way to extend your abilities. And again, in the best cases, they become your best friends and you make a lot of money together.
So Travis, you mentioned private equity there, and I want to talk a little bit more about that in the context that you brought it up. Talk to me about just your viewpoint of private equity buying up a lot of MSPs. And is that something that you find to be impacting the MSP market, and how so? Give me your thoughts.
So it's definitely changing the MSP market. For starters, we're seeing smaller MSPs, it's becoming harder for them to compete against these larger firms. And whether they're private large firms or PE-backed large firms doesn't really matter. I think the shift that we're seeing is that the smaller MSPs just can't compete because of the shared resources, because of discounts with volume and the scaling that comes, the efficiencies that come with scale. Looking at how PE specifically affects this, we're seeing that drive that mass migration and that mass consolidation in it. So I think if anything, it's just speeding up that process. But again, I wouldn't say that it's a bad thing. I think it's just changing the landscape. At the end of the day, the customers are going to make the choice and they're going to go with a service that provides top-level care that meets their needs. And as soon as that stops happening, then market forces will correct and they'll go shopping for someone else. So that golden rule still applies. Be good to your customers. But again, that consolidation, I think, has been accelerated by the money that's come in from private equity.
I appreciate those thoughts. And moving on from there, talking about your sort of answer to this is partnering with other solution providers and other service providers. And in that vein, I want to talk about DVBE Technology Colombia. For those listening, yes, you have heard DVBE before. Our friend Rich McKinnon heads up the U.S. division of that business. And you have taken over the DVBE Technology Colombia division as the vice president of IT. First of all, talk to me about that role. You've been in it for, I think, almost 2 years now. Is that correct? We're going on 2 years. Tell me about that.
So it all started with a trip that Jessica, now McKinnon, took down to Colombia, where she realized that there was a great need for cybersecurity services. There were a lot of projects going on where smart cities and AI implementations were happening. There's a great need for automation. And she saw this play out in a lot of the people that she knew there, her contacts there. And so it was really her just kind of open eyes that said, hey, there's great opportunity there. And so Rich and I had been friends for years. We worked together with his company DVBE in the US as well previously. So we had a great working relationship. And me being someone who is often ready to just take the snow globe and shake it up and do something a little different, jumped at the opportunity. It was an opportunity for me to take that vast background that I've had and apply it in a whole new landscape with different opportunities and different challenges as well. But it's been exciting. So we've been able to provide solutions for smart cities integrations. There are a number of projects right now that we're working with partners. We're the solutions integrator there. So we're working with partners to put together a smart cities solution or safe cities solution where there's monitoring with cameras, that information is analyzed by AIs, that information is passed to policing forces to help ensure security in cities. And it's really exciting.
So talk to me more about Colombia and the overall Latin American market. Are you seeing in real time the need for managed services and consulting grow down there? Just talk to me about the digital transformation that you're seeing. I mean, you've said smart cities a couple of times right there. That is obviously a very impressive market segment. So tell me a little bit more granularly about the projects and just the general growth of the need that you're seeing down there.
We met with the Minister of Information there, and they have a significant initiative to push forward digital transformation in their cities. And all of this is to better serve the citizenry of the country. There's money behind it, there's political will, and now we're starting to see the projects that are coming from that. And again, the project I mentioned earlier, the Safe Cities projects, those are examples of that initiative at work. So that's exciting to see. That's real exciting to see. But also cities like Bogota and Medellin are becoming technology hubs. They are areas that are playing host to a lot of companies that are doing nearshore development. There are a lot of companies that are providing IT services. So they recognize their geographic position in the world, serving, just right at the doorstep of the United States, serving the technology needs of the United States companies with developers, and also realizing that they have this technology capital knowledge base within them and applying it to their own country and their own cities as well.
But I believe you're hiring something like over 100 consultants in Bogota, Colombia.
Yeah, I just posted that on LinkedIn. So we'll be hiring a number of consultants there. Yeah, we're excited about that for sure, to provide that service. And again, these are services that we've provided here in the United States in the past. And so to be able to do it there in another country, yeah, it's a little different. But in that respect, we're still providing, we still have that continuity of service. That's something that we know we can do and do well. And over the past 2 years, we've been able to make inroads and connections with just amazing people in both government and technology. And one of the things that I really have appreciated down there is there are so many folks that are willing to work together. Kind of going back to that theme that we talked about earlier of partnering, we've met a lot of folks that have wanted to partner with us or have partnered with us in some way to help deliver a project or take us into a project. So it's been a fantastic environment, and the appetite for new technology and the appetite for change and building up that technology knowledge base is very great. So I have become quite smitten with Colombia.
I'd love to kind of switch gears now and just talk some general tech talk, which is always fun in our business. Thinking back over the last year, 2024 has seen a lot. I mean, it feels like we say this every year, but just thinking about this past summer, we've seen a lot in the headlines when it comes to IT, when it comes to cybersecurity and compliance. Yeah. It's been a ton. So I just would like to know, what's been the biggest challenge, whether it be at DVBE or with a 4-Point IT? What have you seen your customers running into the biggest challenge, or maybe the biggest need that they have that they've been coming to you about?
I think I can speak to two different markets, but
Please.
In the SMB market where 4-Point really serves, a lot of companies there are resistant, and they're not seeing the value in bringing their cybersecurity and their IT infrastructure. They don't see the value in bringing up their maturity so that they're meeting certain standards. And that is alarming. It's very concerning. So I think that's an area that I would like to see greater movement toward. I mean, specific example is in the Microsoft licensing, to really take advantage of all that they have to offer for cybersecurity and to secure their tenant, requires the additional license, and it requires a P1 or P2, or I think, or one of the higher licenses. And explaining that to a small business owner, it's real hard for them to justify that price difference. And they're like, well, why am I not just secure enough here? Why do I need to be here? Because this seems pretty secure. I've got MFA, I've got password management, blah, blah, blah. So making that exclamation has been difficult. And I would say something that really needs to culturally be supported, again, by companies like Microsoft in the way that security should not be an add-on. It should be something that is built into your product.
You had mentioned Microsoft and some of the things that they could be doing better. I'm curious to know, are there any vendors or at least tools that you're working with, partnering with right now that you're like, this is great, no notes, this has been going excellent for me? I'd love to hear if there's any of them that you would shout out at the moment.
Right now, we're working with Adigy right now for Mac management, which has been fantastic. We've been rolling out ESET as well, which is really kind of opened my eyes to the next level. So they've done a lot with that product and really grown it over the years. And plus they have that 35-year history behind them. So it's really been a research-driven company, and I think kind of a sleeper, if you will, the best kept secret. One of the things that I have been real passionate about when I meet new vendors is really introducing them to the channel and introducing them to the way that MSPs work and the way that they sell through to their clients, the way that they need a company to work with them, because it is as you know, Katie, you've been in the channel a long time now. It's a different way of doing business. And I don't think that a lot of companies jump into this space, especially from enterprise, with the awareness that's needed to really do well in creating a good, successful partner program, creating good partner support, and also helping partners sell forward their products with MDF programs and spiffs and other support that's needed for the MSP to be able to bring awareness to their product. So those are other initiatives that I'm working on to help companies with, which is a lot of fun.
And hey, that's why we have this video podcast. It's to be able to express that. So thank you very much for your transparency, Travis.
Of course, of course.
Now, if we want to get in touch with you and learn about Fort Point IT or DVBE Technology Colombia, or if we want to talk to you and just hear more about
about the channel, you want to know how things work. Yes, I'm quite active on LinkedIn, though I don't post every day. I'm definitely stalking my friends and people I don't know. So please reach out to me on LinkedIn.
Thank you for your time today.
Katie, thank you so much.
Thank you so much to Travis for joining me today, and thank you for watching or listening. You can check out all episodes of Channel Insider Partner POV on channelinsider.com or on youtube.com/channelinsider_news and trends. You can also listen to the podcast of every episode on your favorite podcast listening platform. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow wherever possible so you never miss an episode. You can also come connect with Channel Insider on LinkedIn or X at Channel Insider, or with me at Katie Bavoso. Once again, I'm your host, Katie Bavoso, and I'll see you next time.